Hi friends. Emotional availability. It's kind of a big deal, right? If you've been in a relationship where the other person is not emotionally available to you, like you'll just have a conversation and they never share what they're experiencing, what they're feeling, and they kind of do a shutdown and stonewall. Yeah. So do you know how often you do that to yourself? Yeah. Emotional availability. You might be able to express feelings sort of to somebody else, but you might not know what you feel. You might actually be able to feel what somebody else is not expressing and not feel you. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how to show up for others emotionally and not silence yourself. Welcome, I'm Ann Ferguson, and this is a walk and talk that I do every Monday through Thursday. I'm an author. I am a sister. I am a friend. I am, okay, ready? A recovering second generation narcissist. Yeah, my dad was a narcissist. So the communication style that I learned was very much like his, except the difference is I go way inward. I look inward and I find out what's going on in here so that I can show up differently than he did. If you were raised by and or had a relationship with a narcissist, you might be a little emotionally unavailable because that's what was taught. Don't be emotionally available. That is not safe. So I kind of did a deep dive about emotions today, this morning in my study. I just want you all to hang in here for a minute with me, because a lot of times when we start talking emotions, people go, I'm out. I'm out. Not happening for me. Nope. That is why you don't have relations that are deep with other people. See, it's not your fault, by the way. That's not your fault. Most of us were taught the skill set of emotional unavailability. Did you know that? We're told to be connected, but we're taught not to. So when you are showing up for someone else and you're feeling all of their feelings and you're right there and you're staying silent to your own, you're actually emotionally unavailable. What? Feeling somebody else's feelings for them and with them is actually a boundary problem. You can't actually do anything for them in their emotional state. You can stand with them. Let's do the healthy side. Stand with them and witness with them so they're not abandoned. That is not the same as feeling all of their feelings and then being completely numb to your own. Rather than validating everybody else, you've got to learn to validate yourself first. Now, for those of you who don't know, validation means honoring. Just hearing without judgment, without shame, just exploring somebody else's perspective and what they feel based on that perspective. That's all validation is. It's saying, you know what, you're a live thinking human and you feel things. And I see what your brain sees right now because I've stepped into that perspective, and I understand what that feeling is that you're feeling because I felt things before that are similar. I know what that feeling is. That is validation. Where we get massively hijacked is that we think that we have the power to make other people feel. You don't have the power to make anybody feel anything. This was it's two things. Major eye-opener for me. And number two, it became freedom for me. I cannot make anyone feel, and I'm only responsible for expressing my emotions and not taking on someone else's. So let me give you a really quick little example about this. This was, just a few days ago. My husband and I have been working on a couple things. Number one, you cannot share what you are feeling if you have silenced your feelings. If you don't know what you feel in any given moment, it's like so hard. Someone said, what do you feel about this? And you go, I don't know. First thing out of your mouth, if you ever hear the words, I don't know, I want you to have a little trigger that goes, whoa, I just did that thing. Ready? I don't know. Bam, trigger. What I don't know means is I haven't taken the time to look, and I actually don't want to spend the effort, so I'm going to shut you down with the I don't know. Every time you go, I don't know, it's just like, Mom, just a minute, I'm busy. Mom, will you stop it? I told you I'm busy. I'm doing something important. I'm feeling other people's emotions right now. It's important to show up for them. But Mom, stop it. That one getting your attention is actually your heart. You're feeling something and you don't even know what it is. And rather than taking the time, you're like, I don't know, push away. I don't know what I'm feeling. Doesn't matter. What do you feel? You ever done that? I don't know. What do you feel? Why do we do that? It's because we've been taught that checking in is selfish. We're taught that somebody else has our answer, and so we need to find out from someone else what the answer is so that we can show up in the right way. But we don't take that inward and show up for ourselves. So, going back to me and my husband, we've been working on this because both of us had a very poor emotional vocabulary. There's a study that Brene Brown did. 7,000 people were questioned. So make a list of emotions. Think about this for a minute. Emotions that you can name in the moment that you're feeling them. Out of 7,000 people, the average was 3 emotions: happy, sad, and angry. There's nothing else. That means no emotional vocabulary. So when you come across someone who has emotional vocabulary and they speak their emotions, you can get really, really super uncomfortable, right? It's kind of like when somebody speaks a foreign language to you and expects you to understand all that they're saying, and you've never actually studied that language. And they're like, I'm waiting. And you can't speak back because you don't know the language. Exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing with emotional vocabulary. Step 1 for healthy relations. Step 1 is to develop emotional vocabulary. So what we have been doing is I have something called the feelings jar, and it's little strips of emotions, and I pull one out and say, when is the last time that you felt this? And we're not allowed to say, I don't know. We've done it before. I don't know when I felt this. But we sit and check in and go, is there a time that I felt this emotion? We had to do anger the other day. Anger is so hard for me. Like, that's one of those things that I stay away from at all costs. And there's times where I just plain need to be angry. And that's the truth, right? So these little strips, we practice. Last time I felt welcoming was. Last time I felt irritated was. Last time I felt seen was. Last time I felt heard. It's fascinating what happens when you sit and listen. So we pulled, when's the last time you felt heard? And my husband says, I don't think I've ever been heard. I don't ever feel heard. And I'm like, really? Because I work really hard at hearing his heart. And I go, you know what? I don't feel heard either. And he's like, what? So I said, okay. Tell me, if you will, what heard means to you. And he goes, you guys don't ever do what I say. I mean, I remind you to do this, and I ask you to do that, and you totally forget. Oh my gosh. That is correct. The ADHD brain does not remember things when another thought comes in. That's what this is all about. This is called a HAP-B. This actually sends frequencies into my brain. Kind of like, you know, everything has a frequency. There's magnetic pulses, there's stuff from your computer screen, there's stuff from the everything. I mean, trees and all the way, there's energy. This actually is a device scientifically designed. Those things that help me stay focused, it actually sends a frequency, and I'm telling you, it's like voodoo witchcraft. It works. So he's right. I don't hear him. I don't hear him. Because he said that, I was totally able to validate, you're right. I'm not great at picking up what you say to me. And if that's what you feel is heard, I can see that you don't feel heard. So for me, I don't feel heard because I can express some kind of like emotion and my emotional response, and I get crickets, like no response at all, absolutely silent. Kind of like me forgetting heard. I never knew that about him until we actually sat down and we looked at these words. Heard. Okay. So step one to emotionally have healthy boundaries is for you to be aware of what you feel. Okay. Step two, emotional availability, is you have to not make yourself wrong for whatever you are feeling and how it's showing up. So just like I said to my husband, heard. He's not wrong that that's how it shows up for him. He's not wrong. I'm not wrong that that's how I interpret heard. So many times, guys, we make ourselves wrong for things that we're feeling. Just be curious about yourself. Why? Because, you're gonna hear me talk about this, curiosity kills judgment. If you're curious about something, you stop judging. And in order to be emotionally available, you've got to stop judging yourself for whatever you feel. This is like going against every ounce of training. It almost feels like betrayal of our parents or of society, right? But there are emotions like anger and greed and jealousy that I'm not supposed to feel those things. Those are for bad people. Are they though? Are they? Because I have discovered that even the lower vibration emotions, they're my friends. They're trying to tell me something. You know that mom. Our emotions are trying to go, yo. There's something I need you to look at. There's something going on here. And if you'll just pay attention for just a second and hear me, you'll be able to avoid and or lean in. So if you're feeling stifled, not seen, not heard, quiet, it's because you're not hearing yourself. What does that do when you keep it all in? Produces anxiety, big time anxiety. So, me and my husband the other day, we were talking about Easter, and I went to go see the new movie, His Only Son. It's produced or supported by the same people who do The Chosen. And I wanted to go. In our household, there's not a lot of religious, we don't have a spiritual life. Let's put it that way. I do, but my husband and I do not. My son and I sort of do, but not really. And having a spiritual family life matters deeply to me. But my husband does not want to go to church, and he doesn't explore God. He doesn't explore what God is telling him. He doesn't explore relationship. And I used to make him really, really wrong for that. And it wasn't good for us. So I started to be silent. And there's some times where that silence was necessary. It's not like he doesn't know. But it's gotten to the point that I think he's forgotten. So I wanted to go to this movie. There was a lot of fuss kind of about it. and I expressed what I was feeling. I was feeling that I would love a religious, spiritual life with my family, and tomorrow's Easter. And what I see happening is that we go to church for an hour, and then the TV comes on, and there's no religious practice. There's not even anything. Like, we celebrate Christmas. We talk about the Christmas story. We read it before we open any presents. But Easter, both my husband and my son was like, yeah, I kind of forgot about Easter. I kind of forgot it was happening. Well, if it's all bunnies and baskets, I can see why a 20-year-old would forget. We don't have any little kids. We're not running around to do all that stuff, so I can totally see why. However, for me, it's one of, get emotional, one of the most important events in the history of the world to me, because all of these emotions that suck, we couldn't actually flip them around and feel any kind of positive without the atonement. Like, it's the resurrection. It's not possible to ever raise from where you are in your crap. And I'm not talking sin. I'm talking really, really crappy emotions. Like, just the loneliness. And maybe it's because somebody else did a thing and it wasn't even you. You know? That kind of thing. The atonement helps. So, anyway, I express this. My husband is usually not expressive in emotions, but we've been practicing. And he said to me, you're right. Ooh, validation. You're right. We don't have a spiritual life. I was going to go to church with you tomorrow. There's no way that I could have known that. He didn't go with me on Christmas, and he hadn't spoken about it, so there's no way I could know. But then he said, now I just feel really guilty. Oh my word. The fact that he spoke that was so dang refreshing. Now I feel guilty. Because I was able to say, I understand why you feel guilty. It's because you love me. And there's something that you do that impacts me. And so now you feel guilty. I'm not blaming, I'm stating what is. We do not have a spiritual life, and I have a hard time with that. And I have stopped asking that you come to church. And I've honored that for you. But I have never stopped wanting to have a spiritual family life. That's never stopped. It hasn't stopped from the moment that we met. And then I was able to say, you love me. You want me to be okay. You want me to be happy. And so when I'm not happy, and it's because of something that has happened with you, I can see why you feel guilty. I am not throwing blame, I'm stating what is. And like, his whole body calmed down. And I said, I'm so impressed and so grateful that you told me you were feeling guilty. That was so good, because we had an actual conversation. What? Like, he said, I feel guilty, and I didn't take that as he was blaming me for guilting him. And me stating what was going on with me, he didn't take as, and she's blaming me for her experience. Because we've really gotten into this understanding, I can't make him feel anything. I can't make him feel. He can't make me feel. We've said those same kind of words to each other, and I have felt blamed and attacked, and he's felt blamed and attacked. That's just what we felt. This time we didn't, because we've gotten so much better at just letting each other have emotion. Oh my gosh, we were emotionally available to each other. Yes. It felt so good. It felt so good. And he said, he opened up more. I says, look, before when I was going to church, I felt like, you know, I had to, and I just felt bitter and angry and frustrated the whole time I was there. And I don't want to be bitter and angry and frustrated. And I went, that's so fair. Yep, I get it. That's true. And I don't want you to feel that way either. So I have stopped saying anything. And sometimes it's still hard for me. And I just need you to know that. Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, let me tell you what we did. Because I said we're going to learn how to honor what you feel. Without abandoning yourself and others, right? When you check in with you and you say, what am I feeling? And recognizing what you feel, and then letting somebody else experience what they're feeling, the reason why you can do that is because you're not alone. When we express things, a lot of times we act it out. We act frustrated, we act angry, and we want somebody else to take care of what we're feeling. Because, I mean, if you love me and you see that I'm angry, do something about it. Change. Duh. That's what you're supposed to do if you love me. Right? But wrong. Because then there's just a lot of lying going on. I could have lied and said, I'm fine about Easter. It's okay if you guys don't go to the movie with me. I knew my husband wouldn't want to go. I could have just been sad and then woken up the next morning and been kind of sad that I was going to be alone in my religious practice for Easter. And, you know, him coming to church, I don't know. I don't know if he would have or not if we hadn't had that discussion. Don't know. So what I did was I witnessed the fact that he felt guilty. I didn't feel guilty with him. I didn't take on the guilt. He witnessed the fact that to not have a spiritual life together, I feel something about it. And his witnessing, just standing with me while I felt that, was enough. So I talked about if you're feeling unsupported, if you're feeling numb, if you've got self-esteem issues or self-acceptance issues, especially self-love, that's because you're not hearing you first. So if you are serving, and you are so tired, and there's a choice to say, I can't do this right now, or this is all I can do, or who else can come in to help or to serve. There are times where we just have to push through. That is totally true. There are times where we just have to push and we have to do things for people. But there's many, many times where we push way beyond what is appropriate and we wear it as a badge of honor. I denied myself and I showed up. That denying of yourself is the reason why you don't have self-confidence. It is because you're not actually giving yourself any attention. Now, the last thing I want to state about this is honoring your feelings does not mean acting upon them. I'm going to say that one more time. Honoring and being aware of what you feel does not mean acting upon what you feel. Just take that in for just a minute. I can feel really tired. I can feel lonely. I can feel upset. And I don't have to act upset. I do have to see that I'm upset and explore it. Why am I upset? What's happening right now? And then is the moment of choice. See, there's this gap between thought and response. In that gap is called belief. If I believe that you are responsible for doing something because I'm feeling, then I am powerless. And when I am powerless, I'm not confident. And when I'm not confident, I don't really accept myself. I don't give myself any, yeah, that's true. I don't. It's interesting, right? But when I say I'm upset, what would I love to do about this? Is this upset something that I need to explore a little bit more? Or is this upset, mom, 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 yes, honey, what? I am upset. Oh, hey, heart. It's like your feelings are little kids trying to get your attention. Hey, heart. What's up? Why are you upset? I'm upset because I'm feeling lonely. Oh, you're feeling lonely? Tell me more about that. Why are we feeling lonely? As you listen to yourself, you have confidence it's okay to feel what you feel. You have confidence to know that you are going to show up for you. You have acceptance that you're human and humans feel things. It's kind of fun, right? To know that humans feel things and you're human, and so that's why you feel. And when you have that self-acceptance and self-love, you can witness other people, stay present with them. I see your guilt. Guilt sucks. I don't like feeling guilty when somebody that I love is not happy and my behavior has had impact. Question: is there responsibility on my side to do something about this guilt or not? So can you imagine saying this to yourself? Why are you upset? Well, blah, 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 blah. Oh, that must have been hard for you. Can you say that to yourself? This must be really hard for you. It is. This is not what I expected. This is hard. No one has to validate the fact that it's hard for it to be hard. Right? Can you imagine saying that to yourself? Well, that would hurt if somebody did or said that. You don't make them wrong, just make you right. That would hurt. Like, that's valid that when that happened, that hurt me. Okay, what about, that must be really frustrating. Can you allow yourself frustration? Frustration means you're blocked, means you can't move forward, something's gotten in your way. You can go, what is in my way? Why am I so frustrated right now? That's where you make the choice. That's the gap of belief. Okay, ending with this. Belief matters. If you believe that it's valiant and good and best to ignore your feelings and support somebody else in theirs and or feel their feelings with them, you will feel alone, unsupported, unheard, invisible, and numb. That is what that belief does, and so it matters. If you believe that you cannot feel for anybody else, that you don't have responsibility, meaning you are not able to respond to their neurological experience, if you believe that you are not response-able, nor can you feel or make them feel, you can't feel for them and you can't make them feel, and you check in with how that makes you feel, and you feel what you're feeling, now you're actually going to fill in the gaps of loneliness. And you're going to be able to make a decision about relationships. Do I want to continue to stay in a relationship where the other partner is emotionally unavailable and they're not willing to even explore this? Would I love that? Hey, God, would it be okay if I hang on a little bit longer? Notice God talks to your feelings. You will know whether to hang on longer or whether to start looking at what to do next. It's all in the feelings, guys. We've got to feel. It's called emotional literacy, and I'm going to keep teaching it. So if this was helpful to you, will you please share it? Okay? That's it all. Have a great day. Bye.